What's going on, champs and champettes? It's FireMonkey here, and in today's YouTube video, I want to talk about this brand new policy change on Twitch and why it is absolutely just kind of nonsensical to me, right? So the other day, we got this whole entire update regarding their approach to sexual content and content classification labels on the Twitch platform. You know, generally, it sounds pretty normal, it sounds pretty fine. It's like, okay, you know, they got some new things here regarding the type of content because you've seen all the trends and stuff going on recently where people would go ahead and have it where they weren't wearing any clothes at all, and they were just kind of like right here where you just see their chest going ahead and being cut off right before it gets to the lower area of it. And that was kind of like the Twitch meta in a way, right? It was just kind of showing as much of your body as you could without showing any of the actual full picture of it, right? It was basically just like the upper part of the skin, right? If you think about it, it's kind of like if someone was like, oh my god, is that a shoulder? Oh, the shoulders, this is absolutely insane. It's something along that line, right? It's weird I gotta really talk about this, but it's what's going on Twitch right now, and that's kind of what the change was, right? That was kind of the new meta, and then some streamers got banned for doing it, others didn't get banned for doing it, and they decided to go ahead and update their whole entire label situation. Now, this is a whole entire long form that talks about the update and all the type of stuff. However, the most important part is right over here, which talks about previously prohibited, but now allowed with label categories. So over here are things that are now allowed that before you could not do on Twitch before. Content that deliberately highlighted breasts, buttocks, or the pelvic region even when fully clothed. Streamers found it difficult to determine what was prohibited and what was allowed, and often evaluating whether or not a stream violated this portion of the policy was very subjective. In addition, the former sexually suggestive content policy was out of line with industry standards and resulted in female presenting streamers being disproportionately penalized, right? So it's basically saying, hey, look, we know that there's a lot of booby streamers out there. I'm just going to call it as it is, right? We know there's a lot of streamers out there who have a highlight on their breast area when it comes to their camera angles and everything else. So we're going to go ahead and change it so that, you know, it's allowed as long as you put a label on your actual stream to be like, hey, this is the type of content going down here. Not for sure what the labels are because I haven't really even noticed any of the labels from the streams I've been looking at, but maybe those labels exist, right? You know, I assume as time goes on, it's going to get a little bit better, but it continues on to saying that fictionalized slash, you know, drawn, animated, or sculpted, fully exposed female presenting breasts and or genitals, or buttocks regardless of gender, is going to be allowed, right? So they're basically saying, hey, if you make NSFW art, if you go ahead and you draw a lot of boobies, you draw a lot of ding-dongs, whatever else, right? You're now allowed to go in the art category and actually stream yourself drawing that type of content as long as you put the proper tags on your stream. Once again, don't know what the tags are because as I can tell, no one is apparently using the tags, but that is a nice thing to see where it's like, hey, listen, we're going to allow artists to show their art more often and their work in progress areas so they don't have to worry about all the craziness things going on with it. They mentioned that body writing on female presenting breast and or buttocks regardless of gender is now allowed because, you know, the Twitch attire already allows for body arts on that area. So this change makes those policies consistent, right? It's basically saying, hey, if you do body art, you're allowed to do that still. They allow erotic dances that involve disrobing or disrobing gestures such as strip teases on Twitch now, which is an interesting thing to see them doing, but they now allow twerking, grinding, and pole dancing without a label. So if you want to go on stream, bust it down, and just grind or twerk for whatever reason, maybe you have a twerk goal every 5 subs you're twerking out there or something, you're allowed to do that. You want a pole dance, you got a pole in your room for whatever reason, you're allowed to do that on Twitch now without even having a label being like, hey, this type of content you expect here. And now, in some ways, you know, it seems pretty interesting. You know, it's like, okay, this is a nice change, it allows more stuff on Twitch, but that's not what I think it is, right? I think this is just a dumb change in my opinion. You know, I think that we shouldn't even allow this type of content on Twitch to begin with. And they mentioned down here, right, you know, you're allowed to have content, you know, a focus on fictionalized sexual body parts regardless of gender, as long as you're using the sexual themes label. Now, a thing that they do mention is that you're not allowed to actually still, you know, have fictionalized sexual acts. You're not allowed to have that type of content there. It's just boobs, all the other stuff. You're allowed to show that as long as it's fictional, as long as it's not, you know, actually going into the other territory of other websites. And it is something that's kind of interesting to see them trying to make a change on, but here's where everything kind of goes downhill. If I go over to my personal Twitter right here, you can see this screenshot I took, which is the highest, highest viewership on the art category as the time I took it. As of now, you know, it's 4 p.m., almost 5 p.m. It's definitely died down a lot. I can't see any thumbnails that really show it too much. There are a few here or there, but you notice how there's a lot of blurred out, blank spaces. Those were streams I manually blurred because of the fact that they had boobs or other genitalia or other NSFW stuff right there in your face without even clicking on a stream or anything, right? And it's not like I have this on recommended for you or anything. This was the highest viewership to lowest viewership in the category, and everything was like that, right? You can see here out of the whole entire first 4 rows, we have 4 streams, which is basically like 1 per row. Actually, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We have 5 streams that don't actually showcase all that type of stuff. Maybe like, for example, the stream down here, maybe that was going to go somewhere else, but at least from right there, from the thumbnail itself, and keep in mind, this is based on the thumbnail. I didn't go to each of the streams and, speculate on, is this one they're knowing, or what type of art are they making here, right? I just looked at the thumbnail, I was like, oh, okay, that's a thing, and I blurred it. And it's like, this is the art category. This is what it's like now, and as you can see here, when it comes to the actual tags on the stream, they're supposed to be using this whole entire tag right here, which if we go back is the sexual themes label, and as far as I can see, unless the labels are different than tags, like, no one's using it, right? You have English, VTuber, depression. Why is depression a tag? Okay. We have weeb, anime, Europe, tomboy, cringe, pansexual. You have all that type of stuff in all of these different streams, but I'm not seeing that one tag that they mentioned to put in your stream in there at all. It just doesn't seem to exist. And the worst part about this is you don't have to even be logged in to see this, right? If you go into an incognito browser, type in twitch.tv, you go to the art category, and there are these type of streams going on right then and there, you'll be able to just see it, right? You'll be able to see all of the things going on there without having to even log in, which I think is already a bad thing, right? I think if they really wanted to do this change in the first place, if they wanted to allow these type of streams, they should have put some type of protection on there, like image blurring, such as, being able to block the entire category if you don't care about those type of streams, so that we, as a viewer, don't have to see it. And I mean, even right now, I just went in an incognito tab and opened up Twitch in the art category. There are 2 different streams in the highest to lowest category. Actually, 3 different streams in there that aren't even actual art streams. They're just videos of people twerking, apparently, based on this. It says basics of twerk, adults only, dancing art. I just see butt, right? This is the Twitch category. This is the Twitch art category, and they're just allowing it, right? They're like, hey, we're allowing it as long as you put a label, and unless the label's hidden, I don't see the label anywhere. And it's like, I'm not even logged in, right? And I just wish there was an option, because I fear for, like, if a kid or something goes to the art category and then all of a sudden it's right there, they couldn't avoid it. They didn't have any parental restrictions or anything. It's just kind of there. You kind of just see it if you go in the category, and it's just wild to see how this change actually went to place. And I also mentioned over here, it's like, why did Twitch not at the very least add an option for streams about artistic nudity to be blurred out or blocked? Some random kid is going to click around on Twitch and discover a frog with his dong out, because that was actually something I saw in here, which is actually, if we look over here, this right here, this stream, I don't know why I remember the exact one, but the thumbnail was just a frog with a human body naked, and I think that's all you had to really say about it, right? And it's just wild to see how this was the response to the recent metas on Twitch, all relating to, showing as much of your chest without getting banned as possible, and how they're like, hey, you can now do it without a label. But at the end of the day, will this ever get changed? Will they end up adding more restrictions and stuff so kids don't accidentally get exposed to this type of content? We'll just have to wait and see. But I mean, regardless of whatever else, I guess I'm gonna have to start doing twerking sub goals on stream, so maybe I'll start streaming a little bit more. Obviously, I'm not actually going to twerk or anything, but it's kind of funny just to make fun of that. Anyways, I would love to hear in the comments down below, what do you guys all think about this whole entire situation? What do you think about what Twitch is doing? Do you think they should have just reverted all of this? Do you think that as long as in the future we're able to actually filter this type of content out, so we don't have to worry about just clicking on there, while at work or something, and casually just seeing, oh, that's anime girl boobs, right? As long as we have filters for it, is that better? But I think as of how it's been implemented right now, it is a garbage system, and I just have to make a video on it, because it's mind-blowing to see how Twitch has basically just in under 24 hours gone from a platform you can't really do that stuff, you had to really skirt the lines of, being banned, to being a whole entire platform where it's like, oh yeah, just have that on full display, boing out there, it's like, boing out there, everything else. It's just wild to me. Anyways, with that said, I'm going to end the video here, go play some Call of Duty with some friends, and I'll catch you guys a little bit later with another video. Peace out.